Welcome back to another video on object-oriented programming using C#. And the topic for today is one of the design principles: keep it simple, stupid. Have you ever noticed how the simplest tools often work the best? A knife does one thing and it does it perfectly. But on the other hand, a Swiss Army knife, it tries to do everything but ends up doing nothing. That's the essence of KISS, design principle. Keep it simple, stupid. It's a reminder that simplicity isn't just elegant, it's powerful. Whether you're writing code, designing systems, or creating user experience, simplicity wins every single time. In this video, we will explore how this one principle can transform your design, your architecture, and even your mindset as a developer. Let's start by understanding where KISS came from and why it matters. Okay. In software design, simplicity means creating classes and methods that are easy to understand, maintain, and extend. When someone newly joins your team, they shouldn't need 2 hours walking through just to figure out what your function does. Simple code doesn't just look clean, it reduces bugs, speeds development, and makes onboarding new developers far easier. Think of it this way: the Swiss knife can do 100 things, but you will probably never use 90 of them. The chef's knife, though, it does one thing, and it does it perfectly. That's what great design is all about. Do one thing and do it well. Now let's look at how over-engineering can actually kill simplicity and how to avoid it. As developers, we often get excited. We want to build smart solutions, flexible frameworks, and fancy patterns. But here's the truth. Simple code is powerful. Why? Because simple code is readable, predictable, and it's something future you, or something which a next developer can instantly grasp without needing a decoder ring. When your code base is simple, bugs are easier to spot and find, adding new feature doesn't feel like diffusing a bomb, and onboarding a new developer becomes a breeze because the logic just makes sense. Simplicity gives your team speed without chaos. Now let's look at what happens when we validate the KISS principle. Imagine holding a Swiss knife with 20 tools sticking out: scissors, corkscrews, screwdrivers, and tweezers. It looks impressive, right? But try actually cutting a tomato with it, it's a nightmare. Now compare that to a clean, sharp kitchen knife, single purpose, razor focused, and effortless. That bloated Swiss Army knife represents over-engineered system, full of just-in-case logic, unnecessary conditions, and features nobody really uses. Developers often say, let's add this feature now, we might need it later. And before you know it, your once simple design has become a tangled mess. When your code tries to do everything, it ends up doing nothing well. Just like the overloaded knife, it loses sharpness, clarity, and control. Or rather, the person who makes use of it loses sharpness, clarity, and control. Simplicity isn't just removing functionality. It's about focusing on what truly matters. A good design should feel like that clean, sharp kitchen knife, precise, elegant, and reliable. Next, let's see how this plays out in a real-world code when over-engineering becomes the biggest enemy of progress. Let's get started. Now let's take this concept and see how it actually looks in code. Before applying the KISS principle, most code bases look a lot like the Swiss Army knife we just saw: cluttered, overloaded, and trying to solve every problem inside one single method. Developers often start with good intentions. They want to make function flexible, handle every edge case, or impress with functionality. But here's what usually happens: the code grows and grows until no one wants to touch it again. We have all been there. That one function that's over like 200 lines long and breaks something every time you just want to tweak one thing. So let's look at a quick example of what over-engineered code looks like before we apply KISS principle. Here's a classic case of what happens when we don't follow KISS principle, a method that tries to handle every possible scenario all at once. We have got a shopping cart manager class. One big method, calculate total price. At first glance, this looks okay. It calculates the total cost of items in the cart. But when you look closely, you start to see the problem. Inside the single method, we are checking for empty items, looping through every item, and then calculating category-based discounts, brand-specific discounts, expiry-based discounts, and even seasonal discounts, all inside one single method. This method is doing too much. It's calculating totals, managing discounts, checking expiry dates, and even deciding how to handle bulk quantities. That's like asking one person to be cashier, accountant, and marketing manager all at once. Let's break down a few clear violations of KISS principle here. Nested if-else blocks everywhere. We are buried in 3-level deep conditions. Business rules mixed together. Discount logic, validation, and pricing all are living in the same place. Hard-coded values, discounts like 0.1, 0.5, live all across the method, which makes the future updates painful. No separation of concern. This one function is responsible for almost everything, instead of delegating it to their respective functions. Now imagine maintaining this. What happens if tomorrow the marketing team says, we want to add a new category like toys with its own discount rules? You would have to dig into the spaghetti again and hope you don't break something else. And good luck explaining this logic to a new developer on board. This code might work, it might definitely work, but it's fragile. It's hard to extend, hard to test, and easy to break. It violates the KISS principle by trying to be too smart when all it's needed to do was a clear, focused solution. Now let's look at how we can simplify this and make it both cleaner and smarter by applying KISS principle. Let's get started. Now this is what clean, simple, and maintainable code looks like after applying the KISS principle. Compare this to the earlier version. No endless if-else chains, no nested conditions, no unnecessary complexity. We have broken the logic into smaller, focused pieces, each doing exactly one thing. Let us start with shopping cart class. It's only responsible to calculate total price. That's it. It delegates the discount logic to another class, the discount service. This makes the code easy to understand and easy to test. If you look at calculate total method, it's just a single line. It multiplies price, quantity, and applies the discount, clean and elegant. The real magic happens in iDiscount service. This interface defines a single clear purpose, getting the discount for an item, and simple discount service. This class implements it using a switch expression that's short, readable, and easy to extend. Now, if you ever need to change how discounts are calculated, maybe add a new category like toys, you don't have to touch the shopping cart logic. You just update the discount service. That's the power of keeping it simple. This version of the code is easy to read. You can tell what it does at a glance. Easy to maintain. Each part has a clear responsibility. Easy to extend. You can add more discount rules without breaking existing functionality. And the best part, you have achieved clarity without losing functionality. In the world of design, this is your sharp kitchen knife, precise, efficient, and built for one purpose: It's simple but incredibly effective. That's what the KISS principle is all about. Write code that's easy to understand today, easy to improve tomorrow. Let's wrap this up with a quick recap of what we learned from KISS design principle. So we have seen what happens when we overcomplicate our code. Now let's look at how to keep things simple in a right way. First, avoid unnecessary abstraction. Not every piece of logic needs its own class, interface, or factory pattern. Abstraction is powerful, but too much of it can make your code harder to follow. If it doesn't add clarity or flexibility, it's probably not needed. Keep methods focused on a single task. A method should have one clear purpose. If you find yourself adding multiple conditions, loops, and responsibilities, that's a red flag. Smaller, focused methods are easier to test, debug, and reuse. Prefer readability over cleverness. It's tempting to write fancy one liners or even complex syntax tricks, but remember, code is read far more often than it's written. Readable code saves hours for you and for your teammates, and for any new developers who join the team. Here's a golden rule: write code that even a junior developer can understand. If you have to explain how it works in a meeting, it's probably not self explanatory. Good code should speak for itself. And finally, use meaningful names. A clear variable or a method name can often replace a whole comment. Names like calculate discount, send invoice email instantly tells you what it's doing. That's simply through communication. These practices make your code base not just simple, but sustainable. The goal isn't to write less code, it's to write cleaner code that anyone can understand and improve. So before we wrap up, let's talk about a few common pitfalls developers run into when applying the KISS principle. First, oversimplifying critical business logic. Remember, simple doesn't mean knife. If a pricing rule or a compliance rule is complex for a reason, don't cut corners just to make the code shorter. The goal is clarity and not carelessness. Next is avoiding abstraction where it's actually needed. Some developers take KISS so literally that they remove every layer of abstraction, but a good design is all about balance. Sometimes an interface or a separate class adds clarity by separating responsibilities. KISS isn't about avoiding structure, it's about avoiding unnecessary complexity. The third pitfall is turning everything into one-liners. Yes, compact code can look smart, but when readability drops, maintenance becomes a nightmare. Readability beats brevity every single time. And finally, refusing to refactor bloated methods because they still work. It's like saying my car makes a weird noise, but it still runs. Refactoring isn't just cleanup, it is preventive care for your code base. So when you're applying KISS principle, don't chase minimalism for its own sake, chase clarity. Write code that's clean, intentional, and maintainable, and not just short. Thank you for watching our video, and do subscribe our channel for more such videos, and thank you very much for your support.